Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Strategy Post with Scratch That Gaming Itch. It's the last Tuesday in the month. I can agree one thing. It's time for the Common Sense Podcast.
Yeah!
Yes, it is!
Okay, you can talk about video games.
Very much a podcast that influenced us, I think, is even though this podcast just began as being like we three, four friends, and even sometimes five, depending on certain individuals, we spend talking to the wee hours of the morning. We're basically like, oh, we're done with our gaming session, then we spend the next 2 hours just nattering on. Pretty much that's where this all came from. So hello everyone, my name is Ebac. I'm of course joined by Burr, as always.
Hello.
And of course we have from our person from the north and our very own Mr. Wright on Saturdays, Lemming.
Hello.
And of course things wouldn't be complete without Shadow Phoenix, Rider the Gremlin that we all love.
I'm here for the woke quota.
And please ignore
That's all
the light of Elendil coming from Shadow, and also behind me. There are blinds there. It's just
and from my Chrome Dome.
Yeah.
It is very warm. It is currently like
Yeah.
around 20 degrees in the UK for some reason.
Yeah. The weather's just decided. Do you know what? I fancy being spring now. Suddenly.
Yeah, I have my window and my fan open.
Yeah,
It's gotten a bit chiller in here. It's down to 19, but in my room right now is 26.
fair. So just basically heads up. I do have food on the way because it's important to eat. Don't have time to get up for the show, so I'll be putting my camera on. When I'm hiding my camera once that arrives. But anyway, it's time for us to talk about what we've been doing. Someone's got some snacks.
Yeah, I was hoping we could have a mukbang, but
I got snacks, but they're all the way over here.
I'll just have mukbang on my own.
So
there.
let's kick off the podcast by doing what we always do, which is discuss what we've been gaming recently. So, Lemming, what have you been playing?
Recently, from the top, I've recently been replaying Command & Conquer Red Alert 2: Yuri's Revenge.
Noticed.
Because that's fun. Fallout 3, because that's fun. Helldivers 2, because that's fun. And I'm still addicted to Hades, because that's fun. And Hades 2 is coming out soon, and myself and most of my other Hades playing friends are looking forward to that. What was that, Bear?
It's just, it came to me that sometimes it's really hard to tell fun from Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
That's Tarkov with me, I'm afraid, but we'll get onto that later. And today I've been playing Grey Zone Warfare, which I will talk about later.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Short and succinct.
It links in with my topic for today.
Makes sense. That I can fully understand that. Burr, what have you been playing then?
I mean, so I was playing the most recent invasion in Mortal Kombat 1 because I like my ass kicked. And they do have it's not as egregious in monetization as Warner Brothers could have made it, which is not saying much.
That's not saying much.
Yeah, it's still pretty fun. Like you get this new set of PVE challenges that you do, and you get some really nice skins. And this season is my boy Raiden, whom I stand since 1993.
Of course.
And it was pretty fun. Also, I want to have this final achievement that I really hate the fact that it's like a time-based achievement. Because there's one that I don't have, which is win a Titan battle. But the Titan battles are like somewhere within an invasion. There will be like 4 days or 3 days in which a Titan appears, and you can fight it. And then when you defeat the Titan, you get that achievement, and you get some extra rewards, skins, etc. But I've missed it ever since Mortal Kombat 1 has been released. So it's just I have all the achievements except that one, and I hate it.
Oh.
And now I'm looking into the game every day to see if the Titan has appeared.
Precious.
Yeah. Also, I've decided to replay Sekiro because I like having my ass kicked.
Pain.
Yeah, and I mean that's like when Shadow is chilling when she's playing Stardew Valley, or when Lemming is playing Tarkov, and just it just gets me into the zen zone when I'm just either being either getting my ass kicked by a boss or getting my ass kicked by the mobs. It just relaxes me a bit.
Fair enough.
But from new games, I played three pretty cool indie games. One is called Gunbrella, and it's a lot of fun. You have a gun that's an umbrella that you use at the same time to traverse through the world. So you open an umbrella and it lifts you up, and you can shoot with it. It's a sort of propelling device slash shotgun. It's really cool mechanics. It's not a long game, and it has a really nice aesthetics of. It looks a bit like Carrion, but it's more post-apo.
Oh,
It's really cool and not very long. It's like 6 hours.
fair enough.
So
We like
worth
short
trying.
games here.
Yes. The other one that I started playing is a very similar in vibes to Life is Strange games, but this one is more of a um, platformer slash choose your own adventure game about a young man who travels into space, and it's all filled with absolute amazing aesthetics of rock and weird psychedelic visuals. Imagine the late Beatles or like David Bowie, but like cranked up to 13.
Mm.
Damn.
And you're you don't have a weapon, you have a guitar, and you can riff and jam with everything in the world. So everything reacts to you jamming. It's really cool and looks pretty. And the last game that I played is I want to ask you guys, do you have, and if you do, what memories do you have related to Moomin Trolls?
Uh, childhood ones. I remember there being a animated show
Yeah,
on
that.
Yep.
on one of the
I
cartoon
watched it
shows. It was very
whenever I
sweet.
could because it was interesting.
Yeah, and my
Yes.
dad
It was
used to read me bedtime stories from the Moomin Troll books as well. And we went to Finland once, so yeah, I like
yeah,
Moomin
that's
Trolls are kind of like hidden shadow lore. So
I
yeah,
also remember
that's
the Moomin show scaring the daylights out of me when the Lady of the Cold turned up.
yeah,
oh yeah, there's
bro,
That episode was freaky.
there are
yeah,
some episodes of that show just fucking like
yeah.
ridiculously scary.
Yes. I mean, the show is actually still very much chill and PG real, in comparison to the books. I remember the
yeah.
books were really disturbing,
Oh
really
yeah,
creepy.
really.
They
Like
creeped me
that's
out, and I
just
absolutely loved it. I was like maybe 7 or 8 when I started reading them. They were absolute banger. I loved them. I loved Grog. I loved the Hattie Fatteners, the little
oh, they're so scary. I don't
and
like
and
them. Oh,
animal plant creatures that gather around and create electricity and react to thunderstorms. This whole world is so weird, so creepy, so disturbing, and it's the kind of amaze the mind of a child kind of creepy. So it's absolute bangers. And there's a game about one of my favorite characters of the whole Moomin Law, Snufkin. It's called Snufkin Melodies of Moomin Valley, where you walk around Moomin Valley as the titular Snufkin, and you solve puzzles, you break things, you cause chaos, you disobey the law, you fuck the police, you do all kinds of rioting, and it's absolutely amazing. I love it.
anarchist
I'm here
simulator.
for it. Yeah. Yes.
And
You're a little anarchist. It's also very short, but it's also very cool and chill.
what about
Wholesome.
yourself, Shadow? What have you been playing?
I've been mostly playing Stardew Valley because the guy Eric Barone, like the dev, is insane. He's currently working on the Haunted Chocolatier, his other game, and then just every now and again he goes, "You know what'd be really fun? You know, release a whole ass update, free update for Stardew Valley. You know, with loads and loads of content." And everyone's like, You don't have to. It's fine. We're fine here. And he's just like, yeah, nah. Here, have another update. You will lose months of your life too. So that's what I've mostly been playing. But I have also been playing Nightingale by Inflection Games, which is they're ex BioWare devs, and they're making a. It's in early access. It's a survival crafting game, except you are in the realms of the Fae, basically, and it's very Victorian steampunk kind of like, and it's I like it. It's bit bare bones at the moment. A little. I'm at the point where I just can't get back into it because I just see all the chores ahead of me, and I'm just like, fuck it.
Too
But I will
much
go
to
back to it.
do.
Yeah, like I will go back to it. It's a good game. It's all right. And then I also played a indie game that I played when it was in a Steam Next Fest called Planet Crafter, which is basically it's another survival crafting game, but this time you are a convict sent down on this planet, and in order to secure your freedom, you must terraform this planet, kind of thing, and there might be a conspiracy in the background. So it's a lot of like crafting stuff to move the planet, like terraform stages further. So first you get blue skies, and then clouds form, and the clouds rain. You collect the rain to get water, and then there's water on the planet, and then you move up into like like putting plants down and maybe some fauna. I unfortunately didn't get very far because I got to a certain stage and it was like, okay, now you can start collect like rainwater's going to start collecting in the lower parts of the planet now. And then stuff will happen, and I'm just looking at it and I'm like, this is just busy work. I've just spent most of my time looking for stuff to craft more stuff to make more stuff to make a number go up. And it's really boring, and my inventory is so small that I have been constantly kind of like, what do I need, what do I don't need. I'll drop this on the floor, or like making like little huts on the way to a thing just so I can recharge my air all the time. And it's just like, okay, the number goes up, and I could make the number go up faster if I made more stuff, or I could just fucking stand inside my base, occasionally come back to eat food or drink water, and just let it tick up by itself, you know, without doing anything. So unfortunately, I think it's a good game that will hit the mark for people who like watch number go up, but for me, I needed just a little more interaction, because at one point it was just like, okay, I need I need extra, like I need more enrichment in this enclosure, please.
You're like
Just throw
poking.
me like a ball full of treats or something that I have to sort of
You're
like pull out.
you are poking the game engine with the stick. Like, come on, do something.
Pretty much, it's like, okay, you've got this, or I could go and watch, the X-Men '92 animated show and look for more Gambit. If you
Hey,
start losing, if you start losing to a show, not good.
do a thing.
Don't make me get my sword out. I got.
This
Just
is why you need
drumsticks.
strong PCs like Orion so that you can do both.
Fair enough. Is that everything?
Yes, that is
Cool.
everything. Because I
What
said,
have you-
most of it was Stardew Valley. A
Do you
lot of it Stardew Valley.
That's fine. I just want to make sure that I'm not interrupting in that case. But no, for
And what
me,
have you been playing?
yeah. So because it's been a couple months we've done the podcast because we've had just things going on.
Because stuff.
Stuff, yeah.
So busy.
Just a bit of Nightingale, bit of No Man's Sky. The big ones which I've been playing are a Chance of Sonar. I got my chance to finally get my hands on that, which you can check out streaming. I really enjoyed that. Like from a not only just like from the game perspective, but from actually having the communal aspect of the chat and I assisting each other in figuring that out. Which, to be clear,
Nice.
people would give me the answers. They were basically saying, okay, because it's basically a game where you're trying to work out the language. They're like, okay, what if this word means this? and give me ideas that I didn't think of. And I think that was very valuable, and I quite liked that. There was that interaction between myself and the chat in that circumstance. So yeah, really enjoyed that.
Neat.
Naturally, there's also been the apologists, so I've been streaming as per normal. Also playing Metal Gear Solid, which I started yesterday.
Yeah, so
I played the Twin Snakes, and I've played the original before, but I never actually played through the first game. Like, I've gone as far further than I've ever gone in the actual original, so that's a new experience for me. Even though I kind of know what's going on because I've played the Twin Snakes, which is effectively the remake. So that is one thing. I've also started Detective Grimoire, which was a nice little funny adventure game. It's kind of like a point-and-click adventure game, which I've been enjoying. Yeah, so there's that going on. I've also recently purchased The Saboteur, which has come back on Steam, which out of limbo apparently from nowhere. So I'm looking forward to giving that a go as well. Yeah,
what's
that's
next? The Deadpool game's gonna come back?
I mean, I've already got that, so. But they should do. I mean, the era, or the fact I do hate that we're into an era where this game not available because even though it could be sold digitally because license expire, and I'm like, that is the most shitty reason for a game to not be available. The license expired, really,
You do know that encourages piracy, right?
It
guys?
certainly does encourage piracy. It does certainly encourage the yar har, and while we would never tell you to do this, we are also not going to sit here and say you shouldn't.
You
We're
also do
also-
not encourage cats.
We're
to
also
steal.
not telling you.
Yes.
We also
Um,
do not encourage cats to steal from their owners' yogurt pots.
but they do.
That's ice cream, actually.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's some kind of liquid.
It's still something that has a lot of fat, so cat will be attracted to it.
Yeah, for everyone wondering what's going on. Right. So let's get into our various kind of topics and news for the day, because we tend to not do news topics these days, but it's been a couple of months, and there's been some news that's kind of developed that we all kind of want to talk about in various ways. Who wants to take the floor first? Mine's pretty long and in depth because I've got several things in there to address.
I could take the floor with mine if you want.
All right, Shadow, what is your topic? Other than the brain rot of Lemmy Rabeau living in your head.
Chat, these men have been bullying me about this the entire time. And I mean, I expected it. I walked into this. I am in the bear trap, standing here, blood running down my ankles. But, I'm still annoyed about it, I know I'm standing in the bear trap,
You're
but can
allowed
you
to
not
be
talk
annoyed.
with me about the fact that I'm standing in the bear trap, okay?
In on the news, to watch X-Men 97 is a great show.
Please watch X-Men
Yes.
97. A new episode, the 8th episode is being released tomorrow, and it's going to be the first of a 3-part finale. We are not prepared.
What's it available on?
Disney Plus.
Good, I do actually have
Or
access
your
to that.
hard that we don't
No.
endorse anyone do.
No. Let's be fair. For gaming, we encourage it for like preservation and also for older games. We're not encouraging people to pirate newer things like on that's on the Switch. Let's be fair now.
Yeah, let's be fair. Don't actually pirate 797 because it's some of the best fucking okay. We'll move away from Blizzard for a second. We'll move away from my news topic for a second.
Yeah, let's just talk about 97.
Yeah. To be honest, because my news topic is going to get depressing in this it's going to get depressing in this Chili's tonight. So, so I'm
No
just going to say,
spoilers.
there's no spoilers because, well, one, it's still ongoing, and two, you don't. Go watch the fucking show. But it is some
Yeah.
of the best animated stuff that you can see on like streaming services.
I'm gonna
that I've seen in a
I'm
long
going to disagree. I say it's the best TV you could watch right now.
Honestly, correct. It's really really good. It's also pretty good as because I've heard a lot of people going, oh, do I need to? How much X-Men knowledge do I need to go in to know to go into it. You don't actually need anything.
You're a prime
It's
example.
pretty- yeah, like I only knew like the barest, very bare bones of X-Men lore, and I'm really into it, kind of thing. It does help if you watch at least some of the episodes of the original 1992 of animated series, but it doesn't. It will fill in everything in the back end for you. It
Which
does it in the
also
episodes.
is also available on Disney Plus for that reason, for the
Yes,
record. And
Mhm.
also, it's weird to see the two shows and see how very different they are.
they are.
Like 92, 92 definitely deals with big issues, but it's definitely a kid's show.
Yes, you can
They-
definitely see the differences between them because 92 is specifically written and made for children. Like there are very few guns ever used in that show. There's a lot of ways that things are done to get around the censors. 97 does not have that restriction. 97 is, I think, like Peggy 14. It does not give a shit.
It
It will hit. It will not pull its punches. It will show blood. It will show straight up fucking murder
it
sometimes.
is showing it's also dealing with like big topics like existential crisis. I mean, and X-Men's always dealt with like heavy topics. It is actually, rather than just kind of like simplifying them, it is going full hog into a lot of those discussions.
Yeah, you will hear some you will hear some stuff said by other characters that is very reminiscent of the issues going on like right now in like the queer community, just in general, kind of thing. Like, don't come into 97 expecting the same sort of, oh yeah, we're just goofing around, guys, it's fine, kind of thing. There is some goofiness in it, like really really funny goofiness. Like
Yeah, it's a comic book series.
at one point Gambit throws a beignet at Scott's head for reasons even I don't understand. Because it's like,
Look,
what were you trying to do, sir?
I'm
Like,
sorry, but
this isn't just a case of haha, I'm
That-
just throwing a baked good at his head. This is a
That man,
convictingly charged baked good. So it's
Although-
just like, what were you trying to kill this man? What the fuck?
that
I'm
man,
sorry,
that
but
man
what
deserves
the
to
fuck's
occasionally be hit with a beignet.
what the fuck's a beignet?
So a
It's a
beignet,
Yeah.
it's a paste. It's a Nolan's pastry.
yeah,
It's a
it's
it's a
like-
fried, fried rectangle.
No
with-
idea what a
filling.
beignet is, but I did some research on them. Apparently, they're a baked good, and they sound delicious. So I've always wanted.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to try a beignet whenever I get opportunity.
I mean,
Yeah, they're a
in one
baked
of the greatest games of all times, Gabriel Knight's Sins of the Fathers, one of the puzzle solutions is to send a policeman to get themselves a beignet. So
In
it must be
France,
good.
there are at least 20 different versions.
yes.
Yeah, that's France
fair
for
enough.
you.
Yeah, put it this
Okay.
way, like because Gambit is Cajun, it's probably one of his, it's one of his things that he knows how to cook, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Still don't know why he threw a kinetically charged beignet at Cyclops' head, like that was gonna help at all and not fucking kill the man. But
I mean, it's Cyclops. He deserves basically everything.
in fairness, no, I'm gonna go to bat for Cyclops actually. In 97 he is done very very well. Like 97 does do the characters very well, and it does them, one, because it treats them with respect, and two, it fucking ignores Wolverine. It's just like, so you know how the word it's like, so you know how the movies are like 90% Wolverine and occasionally
Yeah.
some people else. Like 97's like, yeah, we acknowledge Wolverine exists, but
Yeah, Wolverine
He's
is
over
just
there. Just
he's just eye candy in the background.
he's
just-
he's here sometimes.
He's just walking around. He's just walking around bare-chested in the background to keep your attention.
Yeah, it's like he's here.
is his height still accurate to the originals though?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think he's 5'2". They
Good,
nerfed my
because-
boy though. I'm so mad. They nerfed Gambit because in the original series, he gets scanned by one of the Sentinels in the first episode, and it's shown that his height is 6'2". And then they brought out a height chart for 97, and it says he's 5'10", and I'm just like, who shrunk my boy? I am not accepting the slander. He is 6'2". He's 6'2", and I'm
'Cause
not
I-
accepting the heel explanation. You back.
Fair, but no, great show. no complaints about it. But do you have anything to say add to that?
Yeah, so you said how different it is, but I wanted to say how same it is.
Mm.
Because they pull all kind of punches. They got the same actors to play a lot of roles, like Storm and Rogue and a lot of others. They have the same animators, I think, even. So they've been doing a lot of. There's a lot of references to the old show. They are paying homage with a lot of things to the old show, but they are building on it, and they're building really well on it. Like Shadow said, they are really trying to do justice to every character, because the original show sometimes woefully ignored character development to a lot of characters. Now
Yeah, they would.
everyone is going through things.
Yeah, they would. Sometimes you just have a character that just wouldn't be in
Yeah.
an episode because they were like, well, we just don't know. There's a really funny bit where like Gambit says something at the end of an episode, and you're like, "Ooh, I wonder if that means his like his allegiance is a suspect." And you expect that to have consequences in the next episode because we've just had an entire episode where we've had his allegiances questioned, and then he's like, "Ah, maybe my allegiances are questionable." And in the next episode, he's just fucking gone, like completely gone. It's very funny because it looks like he's been spaced like an imposter, but
Yeah.
at the same time it's very strange, just like
Well,
there's just whole characters that just don't
yeah.
exist for whole episodes. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
I actually wanted to add to that some things, because one thing is that the 92 show, like many shows from the 90s, they were still, it was really hard for showrunners, for creators to stop doing this monster of the week approach where every episode is completely, how was it called? A bottle episode? What's it called? That are
Self-contained.
self-contained, and
Yeah.
you could just watch them completely separated from anything else. And this is also because a lot of TV stations, especially ones from abroad that would buy the license for a show, would completely scramble the order of the episodes.
Mm.
I know
Yep.
that Polish TV did absolute horrible version of that with a lot of shows like the X-Men. But also, I think American stations did the same thing to the Clone Wars, so it happens to everyone.
Yeah,
So
there are.
this might be why you have Gambit in one episode and suddenly he disappears. Like no one remember. Like everyone was ghastly. Like Gambit? Who's Gambit? What's Gambit?
But yeah,
Yeah.
go-
To bring it back to what I was actually going to talk about, so I'm just going to close down. It is very evident that that 97 is made by people who not only watched the original 92 show, but really loved it, kind of thing. You can see
Yeah.
and love X-Men media just in general. You can it's
Yeah.
written all over. It's written all over
And
the shows.
understand the X-Men media.
Yeah, like I would I would thoroughly recommend it. Just be prepared. The show will not pull its punches, especially halfway through. It will hurt you.
mm,
It will hurt you. It will hurt you. It will not but it's very good. It's a really really good hurt in the kind of
yeah.
I need to hit you hard in order for you to,
Yeah.
to digest
Yeah.
like the emotional
It's
impact.
a good pain.
Yeah, it's a good pain.
I
Now
just
to what I
wanted to
was
add one recommendation
Well,
yes.
of the show.
before we move on to what you were going to talk about, I want to kind of end my own thing saying, but yeah, really do check out the show. It's really good. Disney are heavily pushing it. It seems to be that this has had a reaction that they did not expect, quite categorically. The show, I think the first episode's got 100% Rotten Tomatoes rating, which has never ever happened before apparently. And I think also what is also very telling is one, Shadow, no knowledge, well, tangential knowledge of the X-Men, not really interested. You went to keep being very, very interested in the X-Men as a piece of media. So, it's a very good launching point for new fans. And not to kind of make it bring in the cultural thing, but there was a lot of talk before this show about aspects of the show going woke. There's a lot of grifting media talking about it. Since the first episode, they've all gone radio silent. They've all because they can't argue.
That's the recommendation that I was just about to make. So you did it for me.
So yeah,
Yeah.
do check out X-Men 97. I know that the Discord is going to be doing a watch party of that soon.
Yeah.
Anyway,
To what I actually want to, to the news that is going to make all
the
of us
bad
sad.
news. Yep.
To the bad news, former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra decided to open his big stupid mouth and say, you should be able to leave a $10 or a $20 tip for devs because some games are just that special. And I'm just gonna say, Mike, sweetheart, former president of Blizzard Entertainment, the company that was well known for not paying their workers a nice rate to the point that they couldn't even afford food in the company canteen. I think it's just a teeny tiny bit rich for you to go, oh yes, us, a triple A game dev, please give us tips, because if you love our game so much, like, I'm already paying 50 quid, 60 quid for your fucking game. I am not giving you a tip for your fucking garbage 90% of the time. You know who
Yeah.
I'm giving tips? Who I want to give tips to? I want to give them to the indie devs, the people who actually need that sodding money, who actually, put out some good damn shit.
Or even your devs, because you're not fucking paying them.
How about
Exactly.
controversial opinion? Controversial opinion. I can't believe I have to say this, or even need to be a controversial opinion. Maybe companies should pay their workers.
Yeah, it's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
we think
What
our
a novel
developers
idea.
should be allowed to have tips from the public. Like, you want us to pay your workers. That's your job,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
bitch.
that's literally bringing the broken economics of almost not paying the customer service like waiters in America, so that 90% of what they earn is from tips to game dev. That's sick.
Oh.
That's disgusting.
yeah.
No, that's precisely what they're doing. Because
Yeah.
in the US, you get exemptions from certain taxes if you have a tipping culture in your business, and that's across all this insurance. So naturally, they want to do it because then they get to pay their workers less, and they get more tax cuts. So it's a win-win for them. And that is such. Go on.
Oh no! You finish up.
Well, it's again, it's such a ludicrous idea. I mean, I get what it's all dressed up as this, like, oh, it's a nicey thing. No. You should be paying your fucking workers. No.
Yeah.
It's such a
Do
fucking
you want to know the games that he cited that we should be tipping for?
Oh, go on.
Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, Elden Ring, and Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I will just say, yeah, they're good games, but do we notice something very interesting?
None of them are Blizzard games.
Well, one, none of them are Blizzard games, but two,
Also,
they're all, for the exception of maybe Baldur's Gate 3, are AAA games. They are already
I
60 quid. And this motherfucker thinks that I want to pay an extra 20 on top of it?
I want to notice another similarity. Also, with the possible exception of Baldur's Gate 3, aren't they all made by studios, belonging to publishers who are doing massive layoffs to those studios, despite the fact that they made absolute bangers of video games that earn them lots of money?
Yeah, funny that.
And this is what kind of annoys me. We always get like conflicting information here, because I feel like we're being told by it's a bit like I feel like we're being told two different stories by the executives. We're being told, oh yes, these games make millions of dollars so that we can stay in business and it's fantastic. Oh, but we can't afford to pay our workers. You've got to give us tips. And it's like, where's that fucking money going?
It's like,
I mean, we know where it's going.
Yeah, into the fucking executives' pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, can your CEO take a pay cut, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, cut something.
Maybe
Please.
stop giving your executives sign-on bonuses for taking your job.
Yeah.
We don't get that. If I took another job tomorrow, I wouldn't get a 500 quid for starting.
God, I wish that were me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your executives are earning yearly the equivalent of 100 devs, something is wrong.
Yeah, like it's not like they're doing anything. What?
Yeah.
When was the last time
Well-
like Andrew Wilson made a game with his bare hands?
I will
Like,
say-
it's not like John Romero who actually made a fucking game. You know.
I do say that to just kind of think they do have a role, but it's not nearly as much as what their pay is worth.
Harassing employees is not a role.
No, I do
Oh,
agree.
that's yes, Yushimo, you're thinking of.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, they exist as the bureaucracy of the company. They do have a role,
There needs to be a
but-
business part of it.
but they could take, something very similar to what these devs earn, and the pay be equalized across the company. But they don't. They take a substantial proportion of that when they don't do literally the hard work labor. I know that is a gold standard of capitalism, where the actual people who do the fucking grift are the ones who get paid shit, and the ones who actually benefit from it are the ones who get paid a lot, and I hate it.
Yeah, like please remember at the end of the day, like if those devs didn't exist, then the CEOs wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my short news.
So yeah, at the end of the day, we need executives, but they're overpaid. Capitalism, unrestrained capitalism, bad.
X-Men 97.
Fuck executive. X-Men 97 good.
We should replace the executives and all the publishers with the X-Men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do a better job of it.
I want Remy LeBeau running EA stat.
Also, yeah,
I was thinking you would say Blizzard.
Which company would Magneto run?
Microsoft.
Yes.
He's already running those companies.
Mr. hello, and welcome to the show. Thank you
Hi.
for joining the chat. And
Sorry,
also,
you probably joined when I was flipping my lid.
speaking of
Oh,
anyone,
this entire episode is going to be flipping of lids.
also,
Also,
don't.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I just imagine Magneto saying, "To me, my Xbox."
So also,
That's your first warning.
I did a bit of this says I did a bit very justified, to be fair. Also, I want to point out, anyone who's in the chat, if you want to get involved with the conversation, please feel free.
Yeah.
We're not just here to talk amongst ourselves; we're here to engage with you guys as well. So if you want to add your own thoughts to the topic, please feel free to do so if you wish. Right then, Bird, you want to take the next one?
I don't have anything prepared actually. I
Oh.
decided I had too much shit on my hands in real life, so
That's
I
fair.
don't really have any news. It
That's
was
fair.
just-
That's fine.
It was
Well, speaking of
That's fine,
shit on your
I'm
hands,
picking his topic.
speaking of shit on hands, there's a game I've played a lot of over the last 7 years. Game called Escape from Tarkov.
You play Tarkov?
Yes, I played an awful lot of it.
Did you think
For the
about
last-
switching? Did you think about switching to Homeworld 3?
I thought you were going to say,
Believe
are
it or
you
not, no.
thinking of switching home care providers? I don't know why.
I mean, fair enough. But back on track, the developers of Escape from Tarkov have been known to court controversy, issuing DMCA claims against YouTube channels who've been negative against them and various other bullshittery across the last 7 years that I have seen, I have acknowledged, and I've hoped they do better. And now they've taken the proverbial cake when it comes to bullshittery. I'm going to give you the clip version, but in January of this year, they removed the Edge of Darkness limited edition from sale. The $150 premium limited edition was removed from sale. It was always going to be removed. So that was, that's fine. If you didn't buy it, you didn't buy it. It's gone now. I have my Gamma container. I have all my perks. Cool. It was supposed to be limited edition. In April 24th, Battlestate Games, the developers, issued an alert that they were starting a 6-hour maintenance period, and the game would be offline for that time. They then released patch notes as to what was going on. In these patch notes, and a video trailer, believe it or not, was the announcement of the Unheard Edition, which is basically replacing the EOD edition. Now, if you already have EOD, that's what you've got. There's nothing new being brought in for you. But this edition adds offline co-op with friends, which is something the community has been asking for a long time. A way of progressing the game offline where you're facing bots. You still have to log into the server in this version, but that's in this new edition. So all the people who have Edge of Darkness, like myself, were going, cool, do we get that? No. How much is it to upgrade? For Edge of Darkness, who's already paid $150 into this, yeah, we want another $100.
Oh.
If you're buying the Unheard Edition from scratch, it's $250.
Jesus Christ.
So that caused absolute riots.
I can imagine.
People have been covering this from day one. Penguin Zero, also known as Charlie, has covered it.
Moist Critical.
Moist Critical, yes. Charlie Moist Critical, the legend of the internet that he is. And various other people have covered it. And Clean, Klean, popular Tarkov streamer who used to work for Battlestate Games, basically asked permission from the chief developer Nikita Boyanov to play SPT, the single-player Tarkov mod, and was given it. So on stream, he's played the mod that has been barred persona non grata. There's a cat. There's a kitty cat. The mod for Tarkov that has been basically banned from talking about for the last 3 years. Yeah, he's allowed to just play it now. Everyone's went, oh, floodgates are open, let's play SPT on stream. I can now announce on Twitch, I have been playing single-player Tarkov for the last 2 years. That's that. So all this attention has then been brought onto single-player Tarkov. Their site crashed because of the sheer amount of people wanting to download this mod. People have been buying the standard edition of Tarkov to play this mod instead, because you need an actual bought edition to play the game. But moving on, the couple days later, they said, yeah, we're not changing it, but we're giving EOD owners 50% off the upgrade. That's still $50, mate.
Yeah, that's still a bit.
One of the things that you bought EOD for, part of the package, was access to all future DLC. That was in the writing. All future DLC. Which they then explained, well, yes, this is a new edition, it's not DLC.
Yeah, it's you're getting them on a technicality. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but okay. Technically, it's not DLC, but you're still shit. You're still shitty for doing that.
You're still a shitter for doing it. Fuck off. And then a couple of days later, after even more backlash, to the part. Oh, and fueling the backlash, a new game which came out today announced that, with all this backlash going on, they announced on Twitter, Grey Zone Warfare said, come with us. Well, all these players leaving Tarkov, we'll take you. Come play our game. To which the official Tarkov Twitter responded, as if anybody would enjoy playing you rip-off game. Like, mate. What?
Bro,
So,
you would to start throwing shit.
Yeah, they started throwing shade.
Yeah,
They started throwing shit at the other developers. It's like, yes, but
very mature for a media representative of the company.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, now that they've made this well known, did I post a picture of it anywhere? But was it in here? Somewhere in our group, I posted a picture of the tweet itself. But the Helldivers 2 official Twitter made a tweet lambasting this practice of $250 by saying, yes, this thing in game you can get for only 250 super credits. Yes, you can get this armor. Isn't it wonderful? Obviously lampooning the $250 price tag. So well done there. But yeah, since then they've massively stepped back, released as close to an apology as Nikita is ever going to give us, and said that EOD players will get access to the single player co-op mode. Yay. It's still on their servers and it still requires a login. So I'm probably going to stick with my version. Thank you very much. I can't play it with friends, but that's fair enough. And then I wake up yesterday to find out that one of their emissaries, a popular streamer on Twitch called Sigma, has been removed from their emissary program with zero warning.
Oh.
So right as of now, Battlestate Games are not in a pleasant position with their community, and a lot of that community has jumped ship to the game that released earlier today, which I already mentioned, Grey Zone Warfare, which is basically Tarkov, but in a single open world.
Do we know?
Yes, go on.
Do we know why Sigma might have been kicked out?
Nope. No
Huh.
word at all. Just gone. What the hell? She said she posted on Twitter that she's no longer in the emissary program, and that's been that.
Huh.
The
Unsettling.
current opinions are the official Tarkov Discord channel has been getting spammed with hate spam for the last 3 days.
Oof.
Yeah. So they've had to shut down most of the channels in that, and the official EFT chat has been just a wall of copy pastors about how this is a scam.
Yikes.
Yeah, they're
So
now
I feel
getting,
sorry for their community team right now.
Yeah.
yeah, they're getting hit with the waves of fuck around and find out.
Yeah, but this has been all the better for certain game developers, such as Grey Zone Warfare, that released earlier today, that has immediately started on very negative reviews. I read some of them. They're all about performance. It's an early access game of an open world shooter. Of course, there's going to be crap performance at this point.
Yeah.
They're barely out of alpha.
Yeah.
But I've been playing it most of today. I've played 5 hours today. And it's great. It's a big open world. If you want to go to certain locations, unlike Tarkov, you don't load to that map and you get a little map. You get on a chopper and you fly there. And you get off. And then you do your stuff. And then you get on a chopper and fly back.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's great. And then you just play Fortunate Son in the background.
Nice.
It's brilliant. But yeah, Battlestate Games are reeling. If they were publicly traded as a company, they would be in a shit show. And in the behind the scenes, they haven't released their financials for the last year. Their finances go through London. They're a British legally company with an office in London, and they've not filed their taxes for the last year.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that paperwork's all public. They haven't filed their finances. They've gotten an extension on not filing it, but they haven't filed their numbers. They're in trouble.
Jeez.
Not good.
I thought you meant financial statement, but as not a public company, not a stakeholder
That's not good if
company
you're
with
not filing
shares,
your tax.
they don't have to do that. But if you mean taxes, that's
They have not given their financial information for the last year, which means they're probably in a shit state. And the release of Escape from Tarkov Arena went down like a lead balloon. Hardly anybody's playing that, and they're hemorrhaging money to the point of adding microtransactions to the game, which is what they said they never would do. You know, you can spend some money here and add extra levels to your stash size.
Oh,
If you-
I hate that.
yep, that's awful. They then said, oh yeah, you know those cosmetics that you can unlock by playing the game and getting to certain levels and buying them from the in-game trader? Yeah, you can give us real money and unlock them now if you want.
Oof.
This has all been happening over the last 2 months. I'm not giving them any extra money.
No.
Fuck that. But yeah, that is a quick rundown of the bullshit for Battle State games.
Oof. I give this one big yike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we have something positive before we move on to another negative thing? Have we got anything we can talk about?
I unfortunately blew my load too soon. Sorry.
Now,
I mean, the Fallout TV series was decent.
oh, I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, I watched all of it across 1.5 days. It was a lot of fun.
We seem to be in a
I've had
golden
mixed
age of
reviews.
TV adaptations.
I mean, there's a lot of people hating on it because they changed things in the law.
They
and
didn't.
It's canon. Like, no, they didn't. They just, they made changes in the actual time, in the actual overall story. Like, they did this to this town that you did at the start in the second game. It's like, cool. They've actually progressed the story. Well done. What do you want?
Is this
No
like the
spoilers here,
Penal
obviously.
Codies fucking thing where just
Oh, fuck.
What do you want to say, Bar?
I just want to say that actually the mixed reviews that I've heard are from people who were not very familiar with Fallout lore. They were vaguely familiar with Fallout by means of playing 2 of the games for a couple of hours. And what they were mostly having problems with, the show seems to be mostly just built to give nostalgia pangs to people who enjoy Fallout. See, hey, look, there's the Deathclaw. Hey, look, there's the power armor. Hey, look, there's those things from Fallout lore.
With all respect,
It is heavily referential.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
very
thing is-
referential, but doesn't have much going on in the show as on its own. Like the show doesn't defend itself for people who are not into Fallout.
I think why it misses that isn't that kind of the point of doing one of these shows is because if it's not got that content and you can't identify it as Fallout, then what's the point? It could be any post-apocalyptic game based world at that point. I get that people kind of get annoyed at fan service, but the thing is, fan service is there for a reason.
I mean, that's still not exactly what I meant. I meant it's like people are saying this show has nothing else but fan service, that it doesn't have anything that would make it a show worth watching if you're not into Fallout.
It's like, I mean, if you're not into Fallout, then this show wouldn't interest you anyway.
I see what Burst's saying.
Shows.
Oh, yeah, I see what Burst's saying. Is that Burst saying that you'd only the argument is that you'd only watch it if you're a Fallout fan. There's nothing that really draws in beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's difficult to appraise that because it is going to appeal to people in Fallout. The thing is, I could have made the same argument about The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
it's just how you've got to make an adaptation one way or another. And if they stripped out all the stuff that makes it Fallout, it would have just been another Mad Max.
I would argue that the Fallout has more of a reason to be watched than The Last of Us, because The Last of Us is a direct adaptation, whereas Fallout actually at least has its own story going on. Yeah, again, I'm only playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying The Last of Us TV show is bad. I think you should watch it, but yeah.
And the fact that the other half of the people complaining about the Fallout show are the people who are saying, "How dare they bring wokeness into this? It's so anti-capitalist." It's like,
oh yes.
You obviously know nothing about the series then.
I've never been listening to those people. No, I was just referring to people who are saying that they've seen this year, even they've seen much better post-apo shows, and they are sad that Fallout is not as great as a show. If you take away Fallout from it, it's not a good show.
No, but as a Fallout fan,
it's a good Fallout show, but it's not a good show.
Thing is, I think again, it's hard to go like, okay, what are you wanting out of that post-block? What exactly is it you're wanting that would then make that a good post-apocalyptic show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
most problems people I had with Sorry, Shadow, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with Mist on this one. He says the difficulty is walking the fine line between creating content that existing fans will like, but making it understandable for someone who's watching for the first time. And I think that's probably what Fallout is falling over itself with right now. And it is extremely difficult, especially if you've got a show, a media that has quite a lot of background lore that you're gonna have to sort of pour in order for other people to get it. Because I know this is a different media, but the Warcraft movie suffered from this extremely
Oh
badly
God.
because they couldn't figure out what they wanted to be. They couldn't figure out whether they wanted to be something for World of Warcraft fans or to be an entry level to bring people into it. And in their indecision they became neither. They became a generic fantasy movie with just a Warcraft paint on top of it that said nothing, took out so much like important scenes to progress the story. And it's a fine romp to go through, but it's such a disappointment as a fan. Like, for
Yeah.
people who don't understand Warcraft, they go into it, see a generic fantasy thing with nothing explained and things happening, and they go, "Oh, this is kind of garbage."
That's
And then
exactly how I felt going into it.
yeah,
I went to the
and then
cinema to see that because a friend of mine wanted to see it. I was like, I have no idea what's going on screen. I don't know who any of these people are, and all of their armor looks plastic.
yeah, and then you've got Warcraft fans coming into it who are just like, "Well, this doesn't make any fucking sense." It's just like I I've talked to a lot of friends about how I would have done the Warcraft movie differently. I would have done it. I just it was trying so hard to be that movie needed to be a Netflix show. It shouldn't have been a movie.
Needed
It
more time
should,
to breathe.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So I think what's probably happening is Fallout is suffering from a similar problem, although they have more time to breathe because they're a show and not a movie. But I think that's the problem in that they can't. It's difficult to tell us. They're trying to find a story to tell in the world that they've got that's both appealing to the fans and also for people who've never seen this before. Like
Well,
X, I will
Go on.
arc quickly back to '97 because as somebody who with a very tangential knowledge with the X-Men who's now suddenly like really into it, I think X-Men managed to do it because one, it's superheroes, and that's always like really easy to just be like, there are bad guys and here are good guys kind of thing, and they beat the shit out of the other people. But it also brings with it the thing that the X-Men has always brought with it, which is questions about discrimination, queer culture, all sorts of like deeper um questions and thoughts and
Nuances.
things to consider, such as like a person seeking vengeance for the loss of a loved one and how far shall we go kind of thing. And like some very very powerful lines that I know that Elle and I have resonated with in separate. And so when you strip away the X-Man sort of paint, it's still got the power underneath it. It might not be as strong because it's not got the allegories, but what Fallout probably needs is that it needs to tell a story that resonates, and it might not have found it. I've not like I haven't seen the Fallout. Why do I keep calling it
Fallout.
Fallout? What the fuck? The
Folk.
Fallout show, but that's what I kind of that's the vibe I'm getting. I'm getting through the force.
Just to kind of give what the kind of quotes that I love out of 97, like we can't allow a terrorist to become a world leader, and yet some allow their world leaders to be terrorists. Like it's like
the
spicy.
one I really love, the one that got me real good was like I thought you were supposed to be the good guys. You killed all of those, sugar.
Yeah.
I'm what's left, kind of thing. Now you
Ah,
got me. I was just
They-
like,
ah,
Yeah.
a great show. Anyway, go on.
The quote I really love is the very, very angry and threatening, like, don't make me let you down.
that's so good. Yeah, it's just like
Oh,
it's
such a great show.
such a good show.
Quick,
Those lines are
Yes.
fucking bangers, and it's just
The thing is, what I think is interesting is because Fallout has, like most post-apocalyptic worlds, Fallout has aspects of it that are very unique and different. And I think, because from what I've seen of it, you are literally given a character who is a vault dweller, who goes out into the world. So, like most Fallout games, you are experiencing this world through the gaze of this very naive individual who has come from this perfect place and is stepping out into this horrible world where everyone is cynical, manipulative, and brutal, and you just see the naivete just kind of seep away from them and them becoming a harder individual. I think that's also very unique for Fallout in terms of that.
And
Go on.
that's basically what happens in the TV series.
Yeah, it is. Exactly, because in Fallout, you have a separation whereas in post-apocalyptic, you often have people who have developed into that world, like in The Walking Dead. They're going through events as they are, so they're becoming more cynical. It's not like the world is already cynical in that respect. Whereas in Fallout, you have like people with very different experiences from very different like tribes, as it were, in the world, and you have to kind of experience that. Like if you got the Brothers of Steel, you have what was the North Carolina Republic, which is dead in the universe. Also, that people are upset about stuff like that. But again, that's also setting up the end because go on.
The what republic? Sorry,
the new California Republic. Sorry.
that's
What did I say? I know I said
North Carolina Republic.
North Carolina Republic.
Wait, what?
Hey, to be fair, yeah. They'd take control if they could. So yeah, the new California Republic, which is people are upset that is in the show said that collapsed, but it's like, but thing is, especially where they're going in season 2 supposedly, it's kind of hard to do that when you have aspects of a game where you literally can decide the events of the game, and we're going to a place where the game that you played in that location can end in multiple different ways, and they have to account for that. And the best way to account for that is that all those players, all those factions are just gone. They're no longer a factor, which is sad, but then it also begs the question of what happened to them, which, that is interesting. It presents more potential stories for them to explore. So I think Fallout is a good idea, and I think that the Fallout series seems to be doing. I've heard nothing but good things. I can understand Burr's that Burr is saying, but I don't think it's very hard. And like Mr. says, it's hard to kind of keep that appeal for the mainstream while also going it for fans.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Fallout series. As a fan of the series, I enjoyed the aesthetic of it. It's 100% authentic to the games. The power armor is big and chunky, and they even use a various pistols from throughout the series. There's one for Fallout 1, one for Fallout 2, one for Fallout 4, so on and so forth. And it just looks the part. And if you can get engaged by the story, it's rudimentary. It's a rudimentary story. It's basically the story that you have in Fallout 1, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and all the other Fallouts where you start in a vault of young, naive vault dweller, gets thrown into the real world, and oh my god, I've got to deal with this.
Which is classic Fallout. I do.
The only games where you're not starting as a vault dweller is Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, and even then, I do. There's a great GIF going around where it's like Fallout 3. It's like, I'm going out to find my father, and then there's Fallout 4. It's like, I'm going out to find my son, and there's one where it's Fallout the TV series. Fallout the series. I'm going to also find my father, and there's Fallout New Vegas saying, I'm going to find the bastard that shot me in the head. But the thing is, why I love that is that people can play.
Really good motivation, though.
It's good motivation. Also, that's very Vegas. That's very Vegas. It's very on point.
All I can really finish off with is saying that season 2. Because it is greenlit. We are getting a season 2. Season 2 is finally going to put to rest which ending of New Vegas is actually canon. If they don't find a way of saying, yeah, they're all gone.
Yeah, I think they'll hand wave it. I don't think they can, because you'll upset people no matter which option you pick. So the best thing to do is just not address it and just cop out all the endings.
I mean, it would work if we just went house wins.
Fair. Go on, Shannon.
That is exactly why I've heard people say, "Oh, they should really adapt Mass Effect into a series," and I'm like,
No.
if they do not touch the Shepard trilogy. I do not
Yep.
want to see the Shepard trilogy because it will just cause
No.
so much upset.
Yep.
So they will 1, cause upset, 2, do it wrong, 3, like they I can't. No, don't do. No,
No,
I want to
I
see
mean,
the. If you're gonna do Mass Effect, please do the First Contact War. That's fun. That's interesting. That introduces the world. I don't want to see Shepard. I don't want to
That'd be
hear no
nice.
hide, no hair of Shepard. I don't give a shit.
Maybe a TV series adaptation would fix Andromeda.
Ah.
Possibly.
I
it's,
But I don't
it
want them
could
to
be,
say,
yeah.
Don't touch Shepard. Don't fucking
Shepard.
touch my girl.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that go on, Beth.
Sorry, just wanted to say that some shows like X-Men '97 or The Boys are showing that you can do a show that is appealing, that's interesting, that's engaging, that has a great story for people who have never heard of the original material, have no idea who the characters are. They are knowing the story and the characters and the lore through the show, but you have to pay good wages and give a lot of time to the script writers, and you have to
Yeah.
treat the material well.
Yeah, you actually have to write
Yeah.
some good material. I'm very
Yeah.
sorry.
Also, I'm
And
gonna
also,
I'm also
sorry.
gonna take gamers to task on this one. If you want a Fallout TV series, you're gonna have to come to terms with the fact that your experience in Fallout is not gonna necessarily be the canon one. I'm sorry that you don't like that, but either they've got to come up with a reason to explain these events, or they hand wave it and they never explain it, which that will just mean that you're then left unfulfilled. Which one would you rather have? There's two ways of doing it. Neither way is the wrong way. They can just do what they want to do, but at the same time, one way is very limiting. In fact, both ways are very limiting. By not touching it means you cannot touch anything about that storyline, and you have to basically write around it, which itself is very limiting. Or you have to commit yourself to this is the storyline, which is going to limit what people's experience. But unfortunately, for a consistent storyline, maybe that's what you need. And I think that gamers need to get off their fucking high horse about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you either have to take your lumps and say, yeah, now that they're doing a canon storyline, so now there's going to be a canon timeline, or you say, please don't touch that at all and do something else, which is why I feel as I feel with the Mass Effect thing. Like, don't touch Shepard if you can help it. Please don't, because it will upset people. It will upset me personally, and I don't trust them to tell a good story and make a canon story for a Shepherd. I would much prefer them play somewhere else in the sandbox and just go to the First Contact War, much which is actually quite interesting and would be really cool to see how that plays out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or they could, like, Mass Effect is not like, maybe it's not as big as like Star Wars or Star Trek or anything, but I think it's a universe. It's a universe that can be adequately explored by different people if they have the guts to look somewhere else and not just say, well, it has to be Shepard in order to be Mass Effect. It's like, no.
That's very limiting.
Yeah, it's like you're also caging yourself down to being like, okay, so now we're following a Council Spectre. Like, okay, a Spectre can do whatever they want. They got an excuse to go wherever they want, do whatever the fuck they want. But maybe it's better to have like humans experience other extra, like humans experience Turians for the first time.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would want a Mass Effect show or movie do what Star Trek Enterprise was at the beginning trying to do, and I'm really sorry that it abandoned it, is doing the take on humans stumbling and bumbling through into being part of the big community
I
of
loved
galactic
Enterprise for that.
races.
See that? I would love to see a Mass Effect take on that.
Yeah.
That would be so cool because you've got the humans like touching all the mass relays, like, haha, look at this, this is so cool. And the Turians being like, you touch that, we will fucking kill you.
No, but can you imagine like turning up into like the wider galaxy and finding out there's like a whole council of like people and races? Like that means you're stumbling onto galactic events that you are only just stepping into. And as Bert said, you're stumbling and bumbling to things you have no idea exist. I love that.
Yeah,
aspect of
it's
it.
like It's like your journey from being treated as this weird monkey caveman into actually being treated as equal partners in the galaxy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and the thing is, like in Mass Effect, humans are the underdog. We are the younger race, seen as like impulsive, aggressive kind of thing. Like because
Yeah.
all the other races tend to be quite laid back, except for maybe
We're the
Quarians.
bratty kids.
Yeah, we're the bratty kids. So it would be really cool to see the humans sort of like I know most of the humans fight to find their way into a council seat, like progresses within not
Mm.
shadows Shepard's storyline, but you could still do the initial step work to get an embassy. Like the end goal is humans get an embassy on the council, but in order to do that, we've got to go through the first contact war and shoot the ever loving shit out of the Turians,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I would. I think that's a great idea personally to do the
Yeah.
first contact war. It's such
I
it's such
can't,
a fertile ground for that shit.
I can't remember now. Fuck, completely forgot. What's the name of that mentor of Shepard's that was
Captain
initially.
Anderson.
Yes, Captain Anderson, who was initially thought of to be a Spectre.
Yeah, and then he got fucked over by Saren. That
There is
happens
a book for
after the
that.
contact war. But I think he was part of the contact war, so I think you
Hmm.
could
Yeah.
you could absolutely pull Keith David into that. Like
Yeah.
instead of like pivoting the story around Shepard, pivot it around Captain Anderson. People know who Anderson is. His death at the end of Mass Effect 3, and that's not a spoiler anymore. His death at the end of Mass Effect 3, like that broke a lot of people.
Mm. And it had more gravitas to that character if you were following him
It
through
broke me.
his own adventure. I agree. I think that's a great idea. We've talked about that an idea adaptation. I think we should talk about like game adaptations at some point. That should be a topic we
Yes.
discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to move on to my topic for the night, which is kind of going into potentially a more broad discussion about censorship in gaming for the last kind of like 40 minutes. Yeah, sure. Also, I just had to throw my Rule Julia quote of course in the chat because that's such an iconic quote for him saying of course. It's like
Come up with a new recipe.
That movie was so silly, but
whenever I hear the phrase "take over the world," I just hear that moment. But yeah,
For you, it must have been the most amazing day that changed your entire life. To me, it was a Tuesday.
yes, great quote. That's so. I think I don't know who said it. Who was it said in the chat? Yeah, but you said it. The Street Fighter film is so bad, it's good. It's it's one of those films that kind of circle out and come back in again.
Horseshoe theory.
Also, it doesn't only have Roll Julia; it also has Kylie Minogue as Cammy.
It's got a fucking all-star cast, which and
I
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
That's some contention because you got Guile, uber American man, manly man, flies fighter jets, does all that stuff, and then they have Jean-Claude Van Damme,
A Belgian.
Belgian,
Yeah.
with a very thick Belgian accent.
Yes.
Okay, cool, but I do have an appreciation for the Street Fighter movie in how they all start looking generic. Like Ryu and Ken's come in wearing suits. They're all just looking generic. And then throughout the course of the movie, by the end of it, they all look quite like their video game counterparts.
Miss says something interesting here. This is why all of Star Wars and Star Trek is amazing because people don't touch others' things and make their own stuff, and most of the time it's awesome. I disagree. I think what makes them fascinating is that they do interact, but the thing is they interact more or less consistently in terms of things. Like there was a big hoo-ha about Enterprise. Respectfully, I loved it. Like a lot of fans didn't like Enterprise when it first came out because it was treading on on TOS footsteps. I really liked Enterprise. I liked, as you say, but the bumbling into it.
I really liked season 1. Then season 2 was kind of they started veering off what I liked. Then I didn't like season 3 because it was very weird, and then I loved season 4, and then I was crying because they canceled the show.
They canceled the show. But yeah, we're going to go into another topic about which still controversy. I'm also going to see what Miss is saying because he's going to rephrase what he meant. I not discard what you're saying, Miss. I think it's I just maybe I misunderstood what you meant,
Yeah,
but
in the meantime, just wanted to say about Warcraft movie that it was fun to go with my brother to the cinema and be Leo DiCaprio just constantly doing.
Yes, yes.
I know that guy.
Oh,
I think what Mist is saying is that the good thing about Star Wars and Star Trek is that you can tell stories from different parts of the universe and it can be fully fleshed out. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to interact with the main canon, but it can, kind of thing, and it can sort of weave in
Yeah,
very
but
nicely to it. And I think
that
Mass Effect needs something like that, the
Mm.
ability to tell stories within
Yeah.
itself. Because as I said in the
which
chat,
yeah,
I genuinely think it's
Yeah.
a space opera that can sit next
Yes.
to those
yeah.
two.
And
No, I
Really,
agree.
but it
telling the
needs
story, yeah,
somebody to tell stories within it
and
to
telling the
be.
story of Captain Anderson through First Contact War would be absolutely great.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that can be the starting phase, and then we can build other stories in other places because we need to, the thing with the thing with Mass Effect is it's very concentrated around Shepard, and I think BioWare keeps fucking this up, and it's just like, yeah, we're going to focus on Shepard to the detriment of everything else. It's like, no, please, you've got to let your universe breathe.
Now, let's move on from this. So, I'm going to be talking about I think about Stellar Blade, and I've been doing some research on this. Now, I want to preface this: I have no interest in playing Stellar Blade. It's not my type of game. If you do, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I know there's been talk about people like saying, "Oh, the woke don't like pretty people." I think they're very unfair when they say that. I think all games have a style. Like we would say that, you know, Bayonetta, great character and great character design. She's beautiful, she's attractive, she can kick ass. But also likewise, Aloy, beautiful, attractive, she can kick ass. One is very heavily stylized to be very, very beautiful and very, very attractive and obviously a fantasy, whereas one is very realistic and grounded. Both are not wrong. Both are very valid interpretations of character design. Now, where Stellar Blade has come into some controversy is about some costume designs that supposedly have been, quote unquote, censored. And this is because in the base game, the costumes do appear without certain accoutrements, which, when patched from the day one patch, they then appear to have extra things added. I'm going to present an example, and it is safe for work, so I'm just for the sake of what is. Oh, fair enough. That's what you were going for there, but I thought, but no, so yeah, it is censored, and so let me bring up the thing here. So here we go. This is an example of what happened between the two versions, and you know, I just want to kind of, this is what we're talking about in terms of what people are complaining about. That is an aspect of what people are complaining about. There's also a wider top. I think the things are being muddled by a discussion that I think that can be an actual discussion that can be valid. But I want to basically preface that this is one of the things people are talking about. Now, I'm not a prude. Either design works for me. But I also want to get the opinions of the cast on what they feel about this change. Like, do you think it's okay? Do you not care either way? I particularly would I've got it on the show. If you want. Okay, it's one of the few examples I could find because not all the outfits are censored, and not all the outfits have the same level of consistency in terms of this, and we're going to get to that. Burr, do you have a thought? Yeah.
Alive, for example.
Oh, for some reason it says you couldn't hear, you couldn't
Those
hear
games
Burr.
are definitely not about fighting.
Basically, Burr just said, "I don't mind. It's boobs. I don't shy away from boobs." I agree with Burr.
I mean,
Boobs are fine.
yeah. In this particular image that you can see above us right now, my only thing is, it's a zip.
Yeah.
Why would you have something behind it? It's a zip. If I wear my hoodie with a zip, there's nothing behind the zip.
To be fair, you're not a woman and have to deal with breasts.
No, right,
So-
yes.
So I will
Yeah, but surely
preface
the
that.
zippers to allow you to put your head in and out of the clothing.
Yeah,
so
but I will
Yeah.
say there's never been a. Okay. I am speaking as Miss Tiny Tits here, but there's never been a situation where I've had to like, oh, my boobs are particularly tight. Let me just lower my zipper, kind of thing.
I'm also very interested in getting Chad's perspective because, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but we can only say so much, me, Burr, and Demi, because we are
Yeah.
men. So
That that doesn't stop us from having big titties.
or liking them, but
They're very nice. They're very
Both.
nice titties, by the way. Chat. They're very nice titties.
Aw.
I am actually trying to.
I would like to say, I would just like to say, I am offended when they're called moobs.
Yeah, please just
Them
call,
breasts.
guys, just call them breasts. It's fine. Like nobody gives a shit. I am trying to find. Trying to find an example to be like.
I just,
You know what?
I just,
That'll
just
do.
like
That'll
them.
do. Explain this, atheists.
All I can
Oh,
say
God,
is, even though without the edit,
Ah.
she's still hot.
Oh.
Legambi with the crop top.
they were showing Gambit with a crop top. Yes, so true.
Ah, yeah.
There we go. There's the money shot. Bit lower, Shadow. Bit lower. There we go. There's the money shot, baby.
Also, if the left didn't like lewd and sexy pictures, how do you explain Hades and Hades 2?
Yeah,
And-
how do you explain Hades too?
But the thing is,
Oh my God.
that is not the argument that's going on, though. Is that left woke and blah, 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 blah. Although there are some people who are grifting off that.
Okay,
What
so
some people
now,
go on.
yeah. So okay, so you wanted my opinion on the
Yes.
on the thing. Yeah. Now I'm out of trying to find a good Gambit picture to be like explain this wokeists. Yeah. I'm not. I will also say my opinions about women in sexy clothing have changed a lot as I've grown up, and I've hit this point in my life where it's like, okay, yeah, you're allowed to have women in the sexy in the sexy thing. It's okay, but you're also going to have to accept the fact that the rest of us might find it very uncomfy. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I don't mind seeing my female character like in skimpy wear as a choice.
As a
If that's
choice.
the only thing I've got to wear, I don't like it. Like,
Now, here's where things get interesting. Here's an example of an outfit in the patched version that you can unlock. And I want you to notice something very interesting about it.
It's more revealing, isn't it?
Much more revealing. Much more revealing. And no even underbra or anything, or like at least added on, which is weird when I'm having to think like, okay, so, and clearly someone somewhere said something was wrong with that one and changed the design. And people are arguing that Sony enforced the change, or that the change was enforced on the devs, or that something was going on. And the reason they say that is because there was that's me beeping myself out. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Whereas this tweet, what I think is where I think a lot of the crux lies. This tweet from the official Stellar Blade Twitter account on X from the 21st of April 2024. For context, the game was released 6 days later on the April the 26th. And it says here, Stellar Blade offers the same uncensored version in all countries, including the Japanese version. Uncensored in all countries. The argument that a lot of people are making is that this is a lie and that the game has been censored.
but what did they mean by censored?
Exactly, I think, is what the problem is. I think it's a unfortunate miswording. I think what they're saying is all versions across the world will be the same, regardless of what is or isn't censored in there, and not that there won't be regional differences between different regions. Unfortunate wording, and I think they could have been clearer, but that is one thing which I think people are taking the word. And I will say that you can argue, yes, it does clearly say uncensored. There's no argument about that. We've not had a statement from the developers other than the head developer saying the game that we released in the updated version is the game that we shipped. So they've gone on record basically saying that. Now, you can interpret that as whether they are doing corporate speak or whether they're being diplomatic. I don't know. But that is one aspect to this. The other aspect focuses on a wall in the game. And you're thinking, right, a wall? What does a wall have to do with this?
Damn
Does it
correct.
have
Fuck.
does it have yellow paint on it?
It has paint on it. It has graffiti on it, to be specific.
Oh,
But it's what the graffiti says on there that apparently was patched. Now, this was changed to. I want to thank Insider Gaming for this image because I can't find any image of it. But here we go. This here, which references. Notice that there's the hard is like the graffiti, and then next to it there's a sign saying "Our shop."
Ah,
I
yes.
did not. Now I didn't know what the term "hard R" meant, and I will say
Yeah.
for the audience, we're not going to be saying what it means on the. It's
Put it this way.
I am-
audience. It's a term you cannot use on Twitch.
Nope.
It
I am
makes
Nope.
you
I am
run into the nether realms. Do not
I am
use it.
yeah. I am
It's
very, very
only
worried that I
something
needed
that
to know
we
what
as,
it meant.
as
Yeah.
poor white people
So,
can't use.
let me. Yeah, it's a word that us white people can't use, Burr, and it begins with N and ends with an R. Is the word I will say that.
You can sometimes say like N with the soft A, but we're white, so we can't.
No.
I thought hard R was a different word that we can't say.
No.
No.
It
I
means
thought that was a different.
No,
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it says hard R, it means the
Oh.
N word with the hard R.
Yes.
There's two different scales of N word. Both we can't use, but one is a more colloquial term, and
Yeah.
the other one is derogatory.
This was patched, so it now says crime, and then arsh, which some people are also arguing is just as bad. But that's less so because apparently crime is a thing, or a reference to a slang, a very rare kind of slang term apparently. Which I apologize if anyone was saying that. I just want to make that clear. But never heard of that before myself. But I had to do some that required a lot more digging than the hard R did.
I'm actually so glad. It's just very funny that you three are just like the hard R.
Yeah,
and I'm
I never heard of it before. But of course, and so
Either way, it's a word that would require lots of if we
Yes.
were.
yes.
If anyone tries to use it.
now some people are arguing, oh, this is unnecessary. This was not needed to be changed. I actually had an argument with someone on Twitter, and it was an argument with someone on Twitter because they said that they clearly are not meant to be read together. Which I would say, okay, yeah, true. But the thing is, we by humans read from left to right, and there's hard, there's R, and the shop is separate from the R as well. So someone could interpret that as a reference to that, and that's a problem. And they say, no, it's not a problem because only a certain very small subset of people will know what that means. It's like, that's not a good enough excuse.
That's not a good enough excuse.
I would actually refute that and say if you're very chronically online like I am, you know what the hard R means. You would know. And I think a lot of people who are on the internet and play that game will know what the hard R mean and will go, that's a reference to the N word kind of thing. And it's just like, it's better to just like wipe
Yeah,
it away.
I mean,
walk away from that.
I actually decided, like, I tried to kind of argue that I put myself in this spot, like, okay, what if the words that collated on there, I know there's no way to split up in doing it, but how would I feel if I saw the F word ending on that wall?
Yeah.
How would I feel? I would feel upset. I'd feel two things. I'd feel like, okay, the fact it's split up, are you doing that intentionally to hide it? Or is it, or now my first instinct would be it's a mistake, but then it'll be the little lingering thing like, but did someone do that intentionally to be like, yeah, if you're playing this game and like insult in trying to like submarine that insult towards me, and I'm not saying that they're being malicious. Again, the dev said it's simply a mistake that they were not aware of, and they've changed it. So they clearly did not intend to cause any offense.
As somebody who knows what that slur, what that means, that particular slur, for me, like, can't speak on whether it's derogatory or not because I'm white. I am the whitest woman who
We
is
are all
ever
are.
whited in
Mm.
Britain. So I can't speak to any derogatory impact, but seeing the hard R, I know what that means, and I'm seeing that is just like, are you just trying to be funny, kind of thing? Because that's not funny.
Because
Kind of
that's
thing.
not how
That's
funny
how it comes across
works.
to me. Is somebody going, we can't say the N word, but we're just going to put this in instead. You know what we mean, guys.
But
Don't
again,
you? Yeah.
this person was arguing with, and a lot of people were saying, oh, it's such a minor thing that it didn't need to be changed. And even also saying, also, they said the game was uncensored, which in my opinion, saying your game's uncensored doesn't make you bulletproof to making changes that are there for sensitivity reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the game's uncensored, so we should just be able to do terrible things to children then, or to to other things. You said it
Or
was uncensored.
show some horrible ideologies or promote
Yeah,
them.
it's just like,
No,
what kind of an excuse is that?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's
a
Yeah, it's
stupid
like
uncensored,
result.
so we
people
can
who
do
rage
whatever
against
the
censorship
fuck we
don't
want.
understand that we censor ourselves every single day.
no.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
through by going, that'll probably upset somebody. I won't say that.
The
Yeah.
last part of the censoring that has taken place in this game is apparently the blood has been toned down, which I think that's very hard to quantify, like, because people have said that they've seen that the blood on the model has been significantly less than it is in the demo and other versions, which we can clearly see that that's a clear thing. Some suggested it might be a technical thing. The fact that the game runs smoother without it, we don't have no evidence for this. I also think that arguing about the censorship of how much blood there is a bit weird. So how many liters of blood is until it's been considered censored,
Yeah, like, are we
Well,
talking
I mean-
about Dragon Age Origins levels of blood spatter or what?
Or
No,
are we talking about Mortal Kombat levels of blood spatter?
Well, apparently
Yeah.
she can get covered in blood, and apparently she can get covered in less blood now, which again is a case of there's still blood. There's still a lot of blood. So
Yeah,
now we're
the
arguing
other-
about the amounts of blood. What?
There's still buckets of blood.
The other
No,
thing
I
I
know what
wanted
this
to
is.
say,
I know what this is.
Oh, dare I ask, Shadow?
It's a sexual thing.
Oh God.
oh no,
Yeah,
knew we were
they're
going there.
They're mad about it. They're mad about it because it's a sexy thing.
Oh, I don't know, but
Uh,
again, I still don't get, like, again, and here's where we get into this. I think the main topic of thing. At what point is it censorship? Because from what we can tell, the devs have made these changes willingly. And I will ironically point out, a lot of people have been championing this game as like, oh, this is a great game. It's not being looked at by Sweet Baby Inc. or these diversity companies. Maybe a diversity company would have caught that fucking hard R.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah, the irony being that the diversity company that is there to consult and notice things from different cultures, because this is a Korean developer, maybe because they don't know, they don't deal with a lot of people, in that, of black people in their society. They don't realize what the hard R referred to.
Yeah,
Maybe if they actually consulted a consultancy firm, they would have told them this.
Yeah. These are
Potentially,
the
yeah.
same people, I will point out, that was championing Helldivers 2 as a non-woke game, and then got very, very betrayed when in the Helldivers 2 Discord, somebody was being transphobic and they got told off, and they were like, "Have we been misled?" And it's like, yes, you have. You're as
But-
dumb as
If you're
bricks. Fuck off.
Quickly finish your thought on me, then Bernie, because Bo was interrupted.
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I just lost what I was saying.
damn.
These
But
things
I was,
happen.
like,
It's like
it's just
if you're not aware enough to realize that the entirety of Helldivers 2
Is a joke.
is a fucking
a
joke,
satire.
then I have no view on your sanity. I have no opinions about your intelligence.
So
Leave. Never play video games again.
It's
Ever.
a satire, as is same as Starship Troopers, same
Yeah.
as RoboCop is a satire about
As
action films in the
Warhammer-
80s.
fucking Warhammer 40k.
Yeah,
I'm starting
Yeah.
to worry those people don't don't see them. They might see them as like, I don't know, documentaries, instruction manuals, the RoboCop and Warhammer 40k and Starship Troopers and Helldivers.
No, the thing is,
Yeah.
they
Totally.
enjoy the entertainment, but they just don't look into the deeper meaning behind a lot of the things.
Yeah, they see the they see the RoboCop of the man, the good man who gets brutalized and reborn as a robot, like robot peacekeep lawman, and not realizing that it was all squabbling between a corporation that's trying to own a fucking city, and they look at Warhammer 40k and go, yeah, humanity, fuck yeah, humanity is the best, we'll destroy all the Xenos, not realizing that it's a fascist dictatorship that has gone into a religious fervor over the last 10,000 years, and that's where we're possibly going.
Yeah, and like
Only faster.
I will just say the people who enjoy these, who tend to be conservative, that's not a full picture. That's not painting everybody like
Yeah, just
like
clarification. People who enjoy that without understanding what the deeper context of these, you can still enjoy that as like a feature, but and understand that they are satire.
I will just say the people who like pin it to their lapel like that tend to be conservatives, and they are literally just there for the aesthetics. They don't
Yep.
give a shit about the deeper lore, which was shown in dramatic fashion recently when the law gods on high said, yeah, there's always been female custodies, and they lost
Yeah,
their
they're
fucking
all-
shits.
There have been people going in like the annals of Warhammer 40k going, look, it was the first sons of all the High Lords of Terror that made the first 10,000. It's like, that was just literature.
Literature and also law can change, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Retcons exist.
Yeah, especially diegetic lore. Like,
Yeah, the Warhammer 40k saying there has always been female custodians is simply them saying in the law, as of now, there has always been female custodians because there have been none made since the Emperor walked.
Mm. But no, getting back to it, at what point? Because apparently the person who I was arguing with argues that there always exists a version of the game that's earlier. At what and said that in fact, I'm trying to find the exact wording of it because I don't want to misquote this individual, and I can't put up on the thing because I also don't want to highlight them because that would be rude to do so, and I don't want to get anyone. I don't want people to attack this person because
dogpiling, please.
yeah, because so here we go. So the discussion basically was that one of the outfits was not censored, and it was showing in that, and the person saying that there are things that have been censored before the game was even released. And someone's asked, how can something be censored before 1.0? That's just still in development. And the person who was arguing responded, something can be censored before 1.0. It's called being a version starting with 0xxx. Don't defend the shit. You can see the red dress in the game is censored, unlike what is shown in the trailers. And again, I will point out, the trailers always have at the bottom. What do they always have at the bottom of those trailers, everyone?
not final release.
Yeah, not representative of final product.
Which is
actual footage.
most of the time they have that, or some will say this is subject to change because yes, a game is still in development. And some people are arguing, okay, yeah, but if they did want to have if the game and the updated version is the game they want to do, then how come in the first edition, the actual disc version before patch, the outfits are not censored, and then suddenly in the patched version they're censored?
I like this version better, and they changed it just before release. Wow.
I mean, it is a different discussion about, okay, so when at some point did they make the change?
Yeah.
And clearly it was after the game went gold, because otherwise it wouldn't have made it to disc. So that means that's a month before release. So why did they change their mind? And were they told to change their mind? But yeah, again, at what point does something become censored? Because right now, I'm seeing precedent for someone to say the Mona Lisa is censored because Da Vinci painted clothes on her. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, at the end of the day, we need to consider the definition of censorship. Because self-censorship is a thing that you do every day. If you're an artist, you choose what not to add to your art. that in a way is censorship. Oh, I will add clothing to this character. That's
Yeah, I will not.
self-censorship.
I will fade to black in a romance scene instead of writing all the
Yeah.
squish details.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's self-censorship. People
when
do
you're
it all the
talking,
time.
But
when you're talking to people, you self-censor yourself so that you say things that you think about them or feel about them in such a way that is appropriate
Yeah.
and acceptable.
So with that labeled self-censorship, and we are all aware that we are doing it, put that to one side. What is censorship? That is a person who is not you telling you to stop doing a thing. So a third party has to be involved.
and that's the
Was
crux of
this?
this.
So, yeah, that's the crux of this. Was this a decision they made as from an artistic standpoint before the release of the game, or did somebody tell them to?
That's the thing, isn't it?
Which all that I was supposed to question.
We don't know.
We don't know. Also, what about if someone says they feel uncomfortable about this, and then the devs decide to change it? They're not told to change it, but someone says, "I don't like this," and they then decide to make that change. Is that still censorship, or is that self-censoring?
That's considered self-censorship because they're going, oh, I didn't consider that. I now consider that. I'm going to put it on myself to change this thing.
Fair. I just think that
They're making the choice.
Yeah, I think that this is a big. This is a thing. Again, I think censorship is something which needs to be discussed because there is censorship that happens within the gaming industry.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely, for better or worse in some instances.
I mean, look at a lot of video games that went through Germany in the 90s.
Yeah. And
that's still done in Germany, and
Still,
for legal reasons, like even like Wolfenstein New Colossus or Wolfenstein New Order or New Blood. Don't
I've
remember
heard
the
from a German
titles.
friend of mine that they didn't actually have to do that. They just did for their own reasons. That the whole like swastika thing in Germany, you can have it in your media. It just has to be like representative. But
yeah, I think it's to
I get
do
what you
with
mean.
I think you can have it in documentaries, but if you're like
Yeah.
promoting or something
yeah,
like that,
Yeah.
it's a bit like one of those where grey. It's a bit grey, and so some determined to not just get involved with
Yeah.
it.
Wolfenstein New Colossus, however, is not really a documentary though.
No, but I think
but at the same time, they're not exactly glorifying them.
yeah,
well,
it's representative, and you're shooting Nazis in the face.
true, but the thing is, even then, people do sort of look at the bad guys and think, "Oh, they're so cool because of the design." So I can also understand why they'd probably self-censor it in that instance.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably self-censorship. in
Especially
part.
that if people are doing that to something so obviously drawing the lines like Wolfenstein,
Yeah,
they do absolutely do that with things that are a bit more gray area, like that mission in there are cats in the background.
I just saw it.
Like that mission in Battlefield 5 with the good Germans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's that's the going to get dicey. I think it's difficult, and there absolutely is a discussion on and I think you've actually nailed it on the head, Lemming. That when it's a self-censorship thing, that's not a problem. That is the developers having foresight, and if people might not like the developers are being woke in that they're being considerate of other people, but that's their prerogative to do that if they want to do that.
I mean,
If you're triggered by them being woke, you don't have to buy the game.
Go on, Bert.
just wanted to add that even if it's not a self-censorship, even if it's a censorship forced upon you by external things like the letter of the law, it's not always bad.
They
But
exist for a
that's-
reason.
They exist for a reason.
Yeah.
They will be. I mean, out of all of us, I've lived in a totalitarian regime for all of 9 years, but still. And I do remember and know about how bad censorship can be for for state reasons, for for the wrong ideological reasons. And a lot of that is happening to developers that are either in China or in countries that are China adjacent. Like this company that made the game Detention, and there's a Taiwanese company. They made another game that had some bad things said about the Communist Party of China, and they were being bashed into oblivion.
Mm.
So there, not all censorship is good, but not all censorship is bad either.
Yeah,
It's a very difficult subject.
It is, because it is down to the eye of the beholder a lot of the time. And I think that there are certain things we can agree of shouldn't be censored, and things that should be, or ideally there should be things that are optional, like blood. Just because you don't have blood in your game doesn't mean that that's being censored. It's being aware of your audience, but having it as an option is not a bad thing. Like in the WWE games I play, that is actually you. What's up, Shadow?
Sorry, that was my camera. I was I'm troubleshooting something else, and then it decided, you know what, I'm gonna you fixed your mouse. Now I'm going to die.
I'm
And I
gonna
was like, oh,
there.
thanks.
But no, it's just a quickly kind of thing. The WWE games I play, blood is optional. You can turn it off and turn it on. In fact, the game starts with it off. You have to turn it on. So
No, the Mega Drive version of the original Mortal Kombat had blood switched off by default because of censorship, and in a sort of dig against that censorship, they added a cheat code to add it back in.
Yeah. Also, I just want to quickly say, because I didn't say it earlier, thank you for Push Square for the image of this other Blade image that I showed earlier. I didn't reference that it was from Push Square, but I want to make sure that we're doing clear that was from them. Thank you very much. But yeah, like
now I want to play Carmageddon again.
Like I'm fairly much okay with anything so long as you're not showing anything that can be dubiously problematic. Like, I might not enjoy it, but a lot of the times, I'm fairly like, it's not my thing, but I'm not going to stop them from including it. I've never really felt uncomfortable playing a game, but then that's just me. And again, that depends on other people. Other people might have an upper limit. Ideally, should be options for people to turn off and on certain things. And I
didn't enjoy nuking Megaton when I did my evil run in Fallout 3, but some people might have enjoyed that.
Yeah, but you chose to do it. Whoa!
Shit! Sorry.
Oh god! Shadow's microphone's going all nuts.
Experiment underway.
But yeah, I think that's a good place for us to kind of like put like our final thoughts on it, which is I think our final thoughts are generally censorship has its place, but there are times where it does overreach. The problem is finding those points and saying this is too far, this is not. As for the costumes in question, I don't care either way. I think it's a bit weird how it was, but if developers did make the choice to change it themselves and they weren't mandated by Sony, that it's fine. If it was mandated by Sony, then it's a bit like, well, maybe you shouldn't have, but it's done, whatever it is. What it would be nice to know from the developers, like, hear why you did that. Like, I don't mind actually them doing it, just like give us a reason, come out with a statement like, well, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do that. And I think because explaining things to people sometimes then at least get them to understand why you did that change rather than just being arbitrary. We can't hear you, Shadow.
I think the main problem that people have with this is that nobody knows why they've done this. And if the devs just said, hey, we felt uncomfy, we wanted to do it, sure, they'd still be like, why did you do that? But a lot of people would be like, yeah, well, okay then. If they wanted to do it, then fair.
I'm also... Go on, Bob. No, go on.
I'm just worried, just as my final thoughts. One, I'm just worried that the people that would say, I'm okay with that, have already said I'm okay with that. And the people that are loud, they're just those assholes that are, spreading their anti-wokeism everywhere, and they would still be upset even after having the explanation.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is certainly an outrage culture that people prey upon and grift upon. So I think that you are right in that aspect. I will also point out, I look very much forward to people trying to argue why having LGBTQ flags censored out of games by mods is perfectly acceptable, but this isn't. Because fucking hell, I'd like to see your gymnastics and your flexibility with that.
The mental gymnastics required by people for the simple reason of I don't like that thing is astounding.
Yeah, because it's okay to remove that when I don't like that thing, but no, when I want something I want, no, I want it in there.
yeah, it reminds me of all like the random RPG horror stories that I hear, where it's just like, well, it's realistic to have wizards and dragons and stuff like that, but not gay people. Gay people are very strange. They're not
Reminds me
realistic.
of the first season of Game of Thrones, really,
Mm.
when when it got through to the point of the dragons. Look, baby dragons! There are actually dragons in this series, and then loads of people went, "That's completely unrealistic! How dare they bring fantasy into this?" And then I
Into this
point out to
fantasy
all of
world.
them that we had zombies in the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
It's weird. I will also say I think it's very interesting to consider this as well. Oh no, I lost my thought. I lost it.
Well, so
No.
in the meantime, I just wanted to add one thing that I was thinking about regarding mods,
Mhm.
because some of the censorship is just a matter also like personal consent, and in cases like this one, if the company is not against creating mods, and if the like modding host like Nexus Mods doesn't mind, or any other service, like there are already nude mods for almost every game. You can have whatever mods you want. If there's someone who will create, there will definitely be someone who will create it, and there will definitely be someone who will want them. So if people really need that, they can still find a way.
Yep.
life
Sorry.
finds a way.
I find
as
way.
they say.
Sorry, my brain is still worrying, trying to think what that thought was. That I was coming back to. What we were talking about before that is like censorship and like such shit like that. And oh god, my brain. It was a good point as well.
Censorship has a place, but if it's done maliciously, same as anything done maliciously, it can be very bad.
Yeah, pretty much the point. Yeah, I think that people are diverse, and it was about the grifting. It was something about the grifting culture, in terms of that. Yeah, it's such a stupid thing when we have people say it's I don't like this and I don't want it included in here. Options are always great. That's what it was. It was about, you were saying about realism, Shadow.
Mhm.
Both are good. Because if a developer sets out and saying, no, we want to set a realistic viewpoint of the world, so we present, a bit like how Mafia 3 has actual racial tension, because that's integral to the story of your character as well. It's realistic, but it's also okay for a world to be in the same setting and the developers not want to address that and have a more inclusive representative, even though that might be realistic. That's their interpretation, their goal. Both are perfectly okay and valid, because one, they both have intentions behind it. Like, one is wanting to be realistic, one is wanting to shirk that realism and enforce diversity. Realism is not the be all and end all of games. Mario is not realistic. That's
Yeah,
supposed
I will. Yeah, I will also just put it out, like, if you see gay people being added, pride flags and stuff being added into game, and your response is, well, games should be escapism.
Are you,
That's not an excuse, sir.
so
Please, like,
what,
stop for a second and think about what you're saying here.
so what you're
Is like,
saying is you want to escape to a world where we don't exist. Nice to
yeah,
know.
like that.
Um,
That doesn't. That's not making you. That doesn't. That isn't making you look any better. That's making you look worse.
Yeah, it really does. I hate that word, 'cause it's like, mm, mm, you know.
Yeah, well, my version of escapism is me being married to Remy LeBeau. So,
I mean, I'm going to be frank. If I could switch every single piece of media so that it involves a gay couple rather than a straight couple, I'd have the option, but I don't. But I still empathize with a straight couple because I know what a straight couple, even though I'm bi, I'm in a gay relationship. But the point is that I can understand love and I can empathize with it and put myself in those character shoes.
yeah,
It's almost like love is love.
Yeah.
shocking. I know.
Yeah, absolutely shocking. But yeah, I think we need to wrap it up because we're now 1 minute past our normal stopping time, and Lemmy needs to get to bed.
Lemmy has to go to bed.
Yes. I think it's been a nice
I can
discussion.
always just do this.
I think
Evil!
I think we've had a nice discussion tonight about things. Oh God,
He's
just see
gone.
the glimmer of the glasses. But no, it's I think we've
That little anime glint.
I think we've had a good discussion about things tonight, and we've kind of like focused on like an idea of like censorship is what it is. It's good. It's good in most places. It exists for a reason. But when we lose maliciously, it can be misused and abused. And that is, that's a fair cop across all the industry. There are issues of actual censorship that should be looked at and squinted at and say that's a bit sus. I'm not sure this is one of them. And also one thing I forgot to mention is that's the only tweet I could find of the developers saying the game will be quote uncensored. There was in this build-up this idea that people said this game was going to be a champion of against the wokeness. They not involving a non-diversity thing. And I think they built up this idea in their heads that this game would be like uncensored, and then there was that tweet that then kind of confirmed their bias.
Drank too much of their own Kool-Aid.
Yeah, they drank too much of their own Kool-Aid. And again, a lot of the things in that game could have been avoided if they actually used a consulting company like Sweet Baby Inc., which is a topic I wanted to get onto last time, but we couldn't do it. So
all I can really say is, if you are the sort of person that wants that level of non-censorship, go and buy a fucking porn game.
Yeah, exactly.
There are porn games. Well, I think that there are some people who literally are like, I don't care. It's more the fact that they censored it that's the issue, and I get that's the problem. I think it's just like there's just hills to die on. I don't think this is the wrong kind of censorship. Again,
100%.
Although, to be fair, I think it really depends on the context of why it was changed. And we don't know that. Yeah. And unfortunately, we may never know that.
We never know.
That is, I think, also a problem. I think that while the developers don't owe us anything, I think a lot could be done to resolve the matter, just simply explain the change.
Yeah, because now, I think the longer they go without saying anything as well, like, as soon as they say, oh, no, it's us, we wanted to do this, those people will be like, you're just saying that to placate the masses.
Which, if they say that, that's confirmation bias. You're literally looking for a reason to say that they didn't. Because if they said, oh, yeah, we were mandated to do it, they say, see, you've got to accept the answer, unfortunately. And
I'm believing that there are lots of people out there on the world that are just looking for things to be angry at.
Very, very strange that it's... Guys, relax. Go write some smutty fan fiction of the person you want, of the character you want to bang. It's fine.
Yeah, you can contact Lemming or I. We can advise you on some really good porn games.
I will write. I might. If you pay me 1,000, if you pay me 1,000 of your pounds, I will maybe write you fucking your favorite character. Maybe.
I tried. No. I tried that once.
I mean, people who have done that in the past have become best-selling authors. So.
I have
true.
I've got porn in both of these.
All I can say, Lemming, is I tried that once. Nothing ever came of it. I'm like, well, I'm just a shit writer, so I'm just going to leave it there. No, to be fair, I can't write. No, it's not that. I can't write sex. I just can't. I'm much more better. Like I'm the fade to black guy. Just because.
I will admit I can't. No. In a TTRPG, fade to black, or I'm sloughing my skin off and living as
TTRPG is a bit different because that's a communal thing. So yeah, that is like anyone who actually wanted to get into actual conversation and like getting into discussions, I'd be like sitting there being very uncomfortable at that point. So
get the screen bottle out, like no.
Yes.
I'm trying to write smarts with actual sex, but each time I feel like Carl May writing novels about Indians never really been to America.
Look. I, as somebody who does write smut and has written several smuts, there are some times where you will just have to write the act, and it feels really, really clinical doing it. I'm doing it right now, and it's just the two are having Congress, and it's just like, this is so fucking boring.
I did check myself there, miss. I did say yes, I am a good writer. It's just that I can't write those kind of things. So
it's not a skill that it is, one, a skill that you practice, and two, I can completely understand why people find it extremely uncomfortable, because it is a hurdle you have to cross. And for me, and like as I said, like even writing it now, and I've written porn for like a couple of years now, it's just like it still doesn't get, like, I still haven't got to the point where it's like doing the writing the horizontal tango is still not I still can't describe it any other way than really clinical ways. It's just like, well, I guess he's fucking her,
Note.
You should give yourself.
This is happening a lot.
Just a note. I prefer the term "sexy sideways samba," but that's just me.
The horizontal.
I think you should still give yourself credit, Shadow, because I've read a couple of your smarts, and you're really good at it.
I have not
Cool.
used a
Moving
teacup.
on.
I
Also,
still haven't used a teacup full of eels
Question-
or a hovercraft wheel.
question: is talking about this subject against TOS on? I'm pretty sure it's not against TOS.
I know.
I think you're allowed to talk about it so long as you're not like really graphic
I
about
mean,
it.
yeah.
And I
Yeah,
haven't
we-
used
Discussing
it.
the
we have-
writing of it. We're not actually
Yeah,
feeling it.
I'm pretty sure we can talk about eels in a cup.
sure.
Or
But that's-
like
I
whatever.
will
What the
say, I
hovercraft?
have never snogged a man and thought, this really feels like snogging a teacup full of eels.
I mean, do you have any reference though?
I do. I've kissed a man.
No, I meant about the
with
eels.
what?
About the eels, I think is what you meant.
No, I meant like you can compare it.
I
Yeah,
know what
this.
fucking eels like though. They're
I mean-
so slimy.
I mean, you can say like it tastes like a kiss, and because you have a reference, but you can't say like it tastes like eels because you've never had
A
eels.
mouth tastes like a mouth. You know.
This is
Although,
certainly the weirdest wrap up of a podcast I think we've had.
On the other hand, just let's go back to eels for a moment. Don't you Brits have a dish of eels in jelly?
Maybe.
No, that's somewhere else, I think.
Isn't
You
that
sure?
Scotland?
Jelly.
Jellied eels.
Jelly
That might be
eels.
Scotland's problem.
That is certainly a thing. Yeah, it's jellied is traditional
Oh,
English dish
London.
orange
Of course, it's bloody London.
East End of London. Yeah,
Oh, come
Yeah.
on.
chopped eels boiled in spiced and stock.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think on that note, news, we're gonna.
How about this?
Well, my name's been back. Thank you for joining the Scratching Post, Scratching the Comments podcast. He's been Burr. She's been Shadow, and that was Lemming Russ. Good night, everyone.
A hovercraft is not full of eels.
Good night.
Full of